The new Specialized Turbo Levo SL is like nothing else that's come before it. It's an e-bike, but so far and away removed from every other pedal-assisted bike as to be unrecognisable. This means whether you've ridden an e-bike before or whether you're new to the genre, you have to approach the Levo SL with a clean slate. Sweep aside your old experiences and your preconceptions and start from scratch. What's the big deal? Specialized has made a bike that's fully 4 kilograms lighter than the regular Turbo Levo. The S-Works model is 17.3 kilos, putting it closer to a regular bike in weight terms than an e-bike. It still has the power to boost you up the hills and the range to ride all day, but now you can do it on a bike with a sensible weight. But the most important thing is the ride feel. Specialized has made a 150mm travel 29er e-bike that genuinely feels like a regular trail bike when you're descending on it. It is an impressive machine. Before I get any more carried away though, it's time to tell you what the bike is not. It does not have the power of the Turbo Levo, the bike it's based on, and the bike it shares almost all its geometry and chassis with. It's not replacing that bike either. Instead, there are now 3 bikes in the Turbo Levo range, from the shuttle-friendly Canevo through the high-powered Levo, and now onto this, the lightweight Levo SL. So how have they made the bike so light? Partly it's the new motor they've developed for the bike. Specialized has reduced the power down and cut the size of the battery too, all sacrificed on the mantle of lighter weight. We're talking 240 watt output from the motor and a 320 watt hour battery. Less than half that generated and stored by the full-fat Turbo Levo. That's by no means the full picture though, because Specialized has built a range extender with 160 watt hours to top up your juice. Okay, it's useful, but 160 watt hours doesn't take you very far on a conventional e-bike. Fortunately, with the SL's significantly lower weight, there's less work for the motor to do in the first place, while the new drive unit is impressively resistance-free, meaning there's way less resistance to overcome. In fact, Specialized says you only lose 2.5 watts in drag from the motor, which really is negligible. That all shakes down to a bike that feels closer to the stump jumper than it does to the Turbo Levo. I can't honestly say I enjoyed pedaling the Levo SL up hills with the motor off, but it is at least possible, unlike with any other e-bike where you feel that you're pedaling a downhill bike. If you're used to the full-blooded e-bike experience, the Levo SL does feel underpowered when you're climbing. You'll miss that raw surge of power that can make climbing single track thrilling, a bit like a good descent can. Instead though, it's smooth as butter, subtly adding power to your legs without that on-off feel so many e-bikes generate. And here's the payoff. The payoff for that reduced power, of course, comes on the descents, where the Levo SL leans heavily on its stump jumper heritage. The reduced weight means it's far easier to flick the bike between turns than the Turbo Levo. The bike feels nimble and there's less incentive to boost out of corners on full gas. Instead, you have to ride it properly, like a normal bike, keeping your speed. Just how normal this e-bike feels struck me again and again riding it at the launch in Stellenbosch in South Africa. The SL is easier to manual and wheelie than the Levo 2, probably because it features shorter chainstays, something Specialized believes makes the bike more fun. Me, I'd have left them long and stable. The short back end on the size XL I rode meant I couldn't weight the front wheel enough on switchback climbs, and on descents I'd rather have had the added stability that a long back end brings. One of the new motor's cleverest tricks though is what happens when you ride beyond the limiter. Currently 25 kilometers per hour in Europe and 20 miles per hour in the US. Nothing is what happens, or what appears to happen. The cutoff is so smooth you really don't feel it, and it makes the bike seem so natural on fast descents. Specialized wouldn't reveal how it has technically achieved this, but it must taper the power down earlier before the cutoff. There's a lot of new tech to get excited about too, most of which I don't have time to cover, so you can read about it in the web story. But most importantly is the improved mission control app. It lets you toggle the bike's power right down to 0 if you want. That means you could find just the right amount of power to let you ride with friends that don't have e-bikes, without pissing them off. Okay, faults. Specialized has tried to deliver the best trail bike for the lightest weight, but in the process it has sacrificed maybe just a bit too much. Gone is the Fox 36 from the new Turbo Levo, and instead we get a 2-spindly 34. The 2.3 inch tyre up front rather than the 2.6 inch feels like weight cheating too. Then there's the relatively conservative geometry. It means riders over 6 foot will struggle to feel at home on the Turbo Levo SL, especially with the reduced chainstay length over the Turbo Levo. As it stands though, this bike is a whole lot of fun. A bike to keep you company on big days out while still maintaining a normal ride feel. The Turbo Levo SL could be a gateway bike for Specialized then, luring in riders who've previously found e-bikes too heavy and too unnatural feeling for their tastes. Overall, the Levo SL feels more like the start of a journey than the end of it. It represents a new category of e-bike, one that will explore how light, how natural and how fast a bike can go. And I, for one, am excited to find out.